Hey everybody, so this is my 1984 Caterpillar D3B Bulldozer. I bought this bulldozer from a logging outfit that was running it every day. They did a little excavation work too. And that company needed a larger bulldozer, so they sold this one. And so I bought it. And now it's a retired bulldozer here on the homestead. If you're living on a piece of property, small farm or wooded place like we've got, homestead, I can't recommend a bulldozer enough. Especially if, again, like we did, you're going to build a building or a house. Okay, so today we're going to change the oil, do a few other little maintenance issues, and work on the shifter on this. Okay, so today, in addition to changing the oil, I'm going to work on this shifter a little bit. The way this works, this is neutral. Bring it over here. There's first gear. On down to second and third. So back to neutral. Now then, where it needs adjusted is, it's hard to get it into reverse. That's probably reverse, but it might still be a neutral. So let me make sure. There we go. That's for sure is reverse or neutral. When we get this thing started up, get it warmed up so we can change the oil, and then I'll show you this shifter. Alrighty, now that it's up to operating temperature, let's climb under it, drain the oil out of it, and get ready to put new filters and new oil in it. This thing holds 3 gallons of 10W30 diesel oil. Okay, so to climb under there, it's got good ground clearance. But in this rock milling stuff, it's pretty hard to comfortably climb under there. So I don't jack anything up, because then this thing cannot possibly fall off the jacks and hurt me. So what I do is I put down yoga mats. My wife has so many of these, and I've done yoga too and I love it. But today these yoga mats are gonna help me change the oil in this bulldozer. Okay, so here is the hole that we're going to use. There is the oil drain plug. And there's 3 gallons of old oil right on the other side of that, waiting on us. Alrighty then. Nice and tight, the way we like it. Okay, so we'll take the skins off. It's got all the oil out of it now. Alrighty. And you can see in there, so this 33351 wicks is the fuel filter, and I've got one of those. And then the wicks 51268 oil filter is right there. So we'll get both those changed. Okay, I guess that's the nice thing about a bulldozer is there's no shortage of places to stick a magnetic camera mount. So let's see if we can get this off. Oh yeah. Love it when a plan comes together. Even a greasy plan. For something that's basically right here, ain't the easiest thing to get off. So let's fill this up with some nice Shell Rotilla oil. Get it put back in. Your oil seal. Come on. I think my arm's blocking you. But you know what? It don't matter. Okay. All right, new filter filled with oil in place. Now let's see about this fuel filter, since I got one of them too. Okay, so let's fill the old filter, or not the old filter, the new filter, up with diesel fuel. Without making a huge mess, hopefully. All right. Okay, the rest of that can's going in that tractor anyway. So. And we'll pull the old filter off and see if we can get the new filter on. Okay. These little vice grip pliers are pretty nice. I don't know how much fuel we're going to lose. Ooh, that fuel's warm too. Of course, it's hot out here today. Hand off a little bit. I'll tighten her up. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, so the fuel filter and oil filter are changed. Now we just got to fill it back up with oil. It takes 3.2 gallons according to the book. Alrighty, so here's inside the engine compartment. And this is the fill for the oil. I got duck under the sweeps. And this is the dipstick. And it's saying it's out. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that up here while I put my oil in. Okay, so my funnel's clean. That tag, don't need that. And I'm going to start slowly adding, and I'm using Shell Rotella 15W40. I put oil in slowly, and the reason I do that is to make sure it flows down into the block, as opposed to sitting up in the head where maybe it could find somewhere else to go, like an air vent. I know a Kawasaki Mule diesel that had, I think they were putting it in with quartz, but anyway, just them turned up and let flow. And some of that oil went in a vent line and hydraulically locked that motor. So when they went to start it, it ended up breaking the crankshaft. I think it actually just bent it and broke the case, but still ruined that motor. That's like a $3,000 mistake. So I just go a little bit slow and make sure that it runs where it's supposed to. The other thing is, it was probably 10 degrees that day. Today it's like 90 out here. So this stuff is going to flow a little easier than that did. And again, the book says the capacity is 3.2 gallons. Where we put a quart in with the filter. And this is 2.5 gallons. So when this is all in, it'll be 2.5 gallons in here. And I will check the dipstick. Yep, always check the water in the radiator. Where am I? There we go. Before you operate it, always check your oil before you operate it. you know, when this equipment's working every day, you know, then they check it every day. You can kind of keep up on the issues it's having pretty easily. Once this equipment, and I think pretty much all of it, gets retired to farm level equipment, where this thing might sit for 3, 4, 5 months before it's used, and then might be used every day for a week, and then sit for another 6 months. So, like I said, it's definitely a different routine and maintenance schedule than when they're used for every day. But the important parts are still the same. Don't let it overheat. Don't let it run out of water. Don't let it run out of diesel. One of the things with farm use equipment, as opposed to everyday use, is you got to be careful of your fuel too, which is part of the reason why I changed that fuel filter. But also, you probably need to use some kind of diesel fuel stabilizer. That's actually saying it's right in the middle of the stick. So I'm not going to overfill it, but I'll just keep an eye on it as I operate it. That's definitely right to the center of that stick. Nice, clear, clean oil. It's the first time it's had that in it since I've had it. I almost prefer dark oil because it's a lot easier to see that it's there versus the clear. Yeah, I got a few other things to do, so I don't take that off and have it blow all over the place. Okay, the next item on my list is topping off the hydraulic level. This window shows you your hydraulic level, and it's supposed to be right in the middle of that. Well, that glass, or whatever it is so opaque, I can't see anything through there. So what I did was get a little makeshift plastic dipstick and put in there. And so from doing that, I know that level's about right here, considerably below that window. So it says to use just the same 30 weight oil that's used in the tractor for the hydraulics. In this case, I'm going to use 30 weight straight diesel oil because the people on Tractor Forum seem to agree that that's what we should use. Okay, so after adding 2 gallons of oil, here's my makeshift dipstick. What I do is I just put it down till the edge hits it there, bring it up. We're still pretty dang low. It's to there. Woo! Okay, let's put the other 2 gallons in it. All right, 5 gallons of diesel. I'm gonna add some additive. It's just about to be ready to start it up. Check the oil again. Okay, just because this doesn't get run that often, that fuel might sit there for a year before it gets all used up, I add this sea foam to it, just to keep the injectors clean, and hopefully keep any moths from growing in that tank. And I use sea foam. I also use, like I said, if I find some of the regular diesel tank treatment, it says. I'm just gonna add this in. A little added protection. Okay, I think we're close. We're firing her up. Being a farm dozer, there is no fuel gauge. Unless you want to get you another stick. Okay, so it's cooled down as we did all that work. So I'm going to take its radiator cap off. And the fluid is right there at the top where it needs to be. Good deal. There we go. Okay, and now let's check the oil. Still right there on the stick. Let me do the wipe and dip method. It is right in the middle of that stick. Right where it ought to be. Okay, so what I'm going to do, start it up, look for leaks, and then move to the next project. Okay, the next issue we're going to deal with is this shifter. Like I said, it'll go into forward first and second, even third. Goes over to reverse, but it doesn't want to go into reverse. And I've played with this before, so I kind of know what's going on with it. It did scare me the first time it happened because I thought that my Bulldozer no longer had a reverse gear, and that was a little scary. But here goes. Okay, so we're going to take these bolts out of this cover. Okay, and remove this cover. And then here's the issue. Actually, it looks like right there, that's loose. So this mechanism, this slide joint, you can see that. So neutral's in the front, slides over to first, then it moves that lever. Moves that lever. And it's going in first. There's neutral. It needs to go down into reverse. So what I think I need to do, first of all, is probably tighten them up. So that's neutral. So I'll tighten all those up, and then I'll lengthen this back rod just a hair to let that throw that more closer into neutral. So all that back and forth and up and down movement goes to a simple lever right here. And then on the transmission, it's straight. If you push it forward, it goes into the reverse gears. Neutrals, it's 3 forward, neutral, and then 2 back. The 2 back are your reverse, the 3 forward are your first, second, and third forward gear, and neutral sits right between them. Middle of 5. So let's adjust this. There's the nut, there's the nut. And I want to lengthen that just a hair. So let's see. That would be lengthened. The problem that I have is I usually over adjust it. So that's 2 turns. And you can feel where neutral and reverse are at. Okay, that has to be up there. I think that might be better. Let's tighten them up. Tighten that adjuster up. Tighten this adjuster up. Okay, that will work. Just because I've operated this thing enough, I know where the gears feel right. And that is definitely neutral. And that's definitely second. Okay, let's get in it and try it out. Alrighty then, so let's try it out. A little more gas. Alrighty. Okay, so there we go. Got the old farm dozer. Fluids changed. Got some hydraulic fluid added. Adjusted the gear shift. It is ready now to move that pile of road millings onto the driveway and smooth it out. Ought to be fun. So in case anybody was wondering, today is July 4th. Happy birthday, America. And in case anybody was wondering, I am doing exactly what I want to do on this holiday. So have a good one, y'all. Okay, so the last thing that we'll do is check the oil in the bevel gear and the transmission. Okay, so we'll pull out the floor plate. Okay. Here we have the bevel gear oil level. Let's see where we're at. And it's full. I've owned this dozer for about 2 years, and I've never had to add any transmission fluid or bevel gear oil. So let's check the transmission fluid. Okay, and it says check with the engine running. So we'll start it up. Alrighty, the last thing I'm going to do before I put this to work is these tracks are fairly worn out, but for a farm use or homestead use dozer, they may last me forever. But this is the amount of slack that should be in them, about 1 inch of sway between the sprocket and the idler, or the top roller and the idler wheel up front. So that looks pretty good. But if we come over to this other side, it's not terrible, but it looks a little tight to me. So I'm going to loosen that up a little bit, and I'll show you how you loosen or tighten these tracks. So there's this plate that covers the adjuster, and it takes a 3/4 inch wrench or socket. Okay, then here is a nut that is a 7/8 size, and right there is a grease zerk. So to tighten the track up, you pump grease into that grease zerk. It goes into a cylinder and it pushes the idler wheel out, which tightens it up. To loosen it, in the manual it says never loosen this more than 3/4 or half a turn. So listen when I loosen this up. Okay, I should have been filming the track. But now you can see there is about 1 inch of drop along that track. And I'll have to start it up and move it, because what happens when you loosen that nut, it allows grease to bypass it and escape out of that cylinder. So we'll see where that's at. I actually knew that I had over tightened that track the last time I had to put the track on, and I just hit it with my battery powered grease gun and got it out of there. But now that I'm actually going to use it, I wanted it closer to the right setting. Okay, so after adding 9 gallons of hydraulic oil, tank's supposed to hold 30. It looks like you can barely see it, but it looks like the line's right there. And then when I checked it with the dipstick, it did look like it was basically right in this area. So I'm gonna call that good. Okay, so the electronic fuel gauge doesn't work in this tractor anymore, but it does have this dipstick. Let's see what we got. Okay, it's right to there. So let's see what that is. So it's pretty full. This also holds 30 gallons. And put the cap back on. Use clean fuel. This fuel I get at the co-op. It is the off-road diesel. A little bit cheaper than the road diesel. And this little tractor is a 4-cylinder engine, diesel engine. And it's actually, I'd say, fairly economical. Usually what I do is dump a 5-gallon can in it anytime I go to do any of my little jobs. And as of yet, I haven't run out. So, like I said, it works. Now this is a bigger job of it coming up, so I went ahead and dumped 10 gallons in it. We'll start her up, check the transmission fluid. Okay, so the track's looking good. All the fluids are good. Wouldn't mind the undercarriage being better, but hey. So what happens when you have a farm dozer? I went back and forth on that track just to make sure that it wasn't too loose or still too tight, and that's got about the right amount of slack in it. Put this blade down. Okay. Well, there is the Cat D3B and ready to do some work. All right. Thanks for watching. Hey everybody, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.